Now, I'm gonna be a little selfish. I say buy this for you. Right?
I think so too.
Yes, this is all about last minute gifts. What we're showing you are some of the features on Wolfgang Puck's 68 ounce commercial countertop blender. It is commercially rated. The motor on this is a commercial motor. This blender has all metal gears like they do at the restaurants and bars where they're constantly cranking out drinks. So whether it's baby food or soups or sauces or dressings that you're making or your smoothies, if you want the buy of all buys, listen to this. This commercial blender sold at $179.95 for today. Look at my price. Can you see that?
Oh my God.
Look at the television screen. It's less. Look at the,
Wow.
it's lower than what I thought. Look at my card and look at the price.
That's a typo.
That's a typo.
That's a typo. That's a great deal.
All I can say is I already thought it was a great deal. And now it's an amazing deal at $99.95 because my card says that it should sell for more. I'm telling you right now, if you're looking for a deal on a blender, and we've got to talk about blenders, and especially when you're looking at $99.95, you know this, you can go to any of the Mart stores, any store to buy a blender, but those are the blenders where they burn out really quickly. Metal gears, commercial motor, over 1,000 watts. It comes with 18 recipes. I don't know how this is happening, but this is the best $20 that you could have ever spent. And if you're not on the phone lines early for this, you're gonna miss it. I wanna go buy it at $99.
It's a great buy, and I love that it is so strong. I've got a completely overloaded green smoothie going on here. And I love that this guy has enough power. Oops, you gotta have power. Whoa! But you're just gonna push the ingredients down onto the blades, Marlo, and just let it go. It's gonna take all that whole fruit, whole vegetables, and turn them into this beautiful smoothie. And if you're like me, where you struggle with your weight, one of the best things that you can do, I think, is have something like this that's full of fiber that keeps you full for a really long time. And I think also, if there's things like frozen broccoli that I just push around on my plate and never eat, it's the best thing to hide into a smoothie because you don't taste it once you've got that fruit in there. That's really the only smell and the only taste that you have. I know so many of us are into the green smoothies now, but if you have a blender that can't do this and it kind of turns out chunky, nobody wants that. But this is literally our morning, every single morning, with some version of this where the green stuff that I don't typically eat, because I say I'm full and it's a lie. Yes. I really want something salty and crunchy. But if I hide that in my smoothie, it's better, and I struggle with my weight less.
Yes, well, so. I'm telling you, I know this for a fact. This is an extraordinarily insane, gotta have it, definitely should be buying this kind of deal. That's all I can tell you. I wanna walk you through some of the features, okay? The jar capacity is 68 ounces. Why do I point that out? That's actually larger than a lot of the other blenders that are out there that are usually about 48 ounces. What does that mean for you in real life? Well, if it's daiquiri time, that means you're making one big batch, right? And Marion doesn't have to sit there with her glass empty because now I've got to make another batch. That's what that means for you. We mentioned that this jar is not only BPA free, but you said that it's actually made of
spice mill?
Titan material. Let's talk about Titan, what that, Triton and what that means.
Triton copolyester, which is what this is made out of, is worth going on YouTube or just Googling it and finding out what it's made out of. Their advertisement for it show an elephant standing on it, a car driving over it, because it's really well made. It's durable and strong, but it maintains that crystal clarity. And it is the kind of material that can handle extreme heat or extreme cold. So in the case of what I've got here, this is scrambled eggs that took 6 minutes to make it, 6 eggs, in the blender, because with that extreme speed, it has enough friction to do the cooking as well. So if you're not great with a skillet or you just don't want to turn on the burner and wait for it to get hot, I love making fluffy scrambled eggs in the blender, but that's just the beginning of how it works.
Well, I definitely want to show you the bottom because you might want to know, well, what makes for a commercial motor, right? The type that you'll find in a bar in a restaurant where you're looking at it. And if you're at home right now, I don't know if your blender is accessible, but if so, look at the base, look at the bottom. Because most of the ones that we're buying from the common stores that we all shop at, they're gonna have plastic gears. And what separates that commercial motor from the average ones that cost about this price is that they have plastic and this is all metal. What does that mean? Marion's adding ice. How many of you have burnt out the motor on your blender just by adding too much ice? Well, guess what? In the restaurants where they're blending drink after drink after drink all day, probably 8 to 10 hours a day, their motors never burn out. And that is because of those metal gears. You'll be able to do the same thing. That's one big reason why I hope you're ordering this today.
And I love that Wolfgang chose a different design. You know, there's great blenders out there, and we don't knock those at all, but this blender is designed by a chef who has different needs. And he says, I don't like, he grew up very poor, and he doesn't like to waste anything. And he loved this design with the square carafe because it's so easy to scrape out your ingredients once you've added them to it. But what you need is a ton of power when you're doing something like us to be able to blitz it. So this is a whole grapefruit margarita, and already it's smooth. We'll just wait till the little ice crystals are quite fine, and you can tell by the color change that it's there. But it can handle this like it's nothing. And I love that he made just the dial like this to turn it on or off. Wolfgang doesn't like to have to put on his glasses to read something that's digital. And this is just so intuitive, right? It's so easy.
Yes. Okay, that churned through that ice so quickly.
I know.
Did you, I mean, if you blinked, you missed it.
So thick.
And that is really, I think, one of the telltale signs of why you want to own something like this, because most of the blenders that we buy that are around the price of about $69, $79, $89, they struggle with it. I mean, you would still be trying to get that ice smooth. Look at the texture. I want you to notice that. That's that type of velvety, smooth texture that you get when you're on South Beach in Miami and you're paying $14 to $20 for a drink, right? And you don't think because the texture is so wonderful, you don't have the big chunks of ice and the little chunks of ice. Look at that. I mean, it's just velvety smooth. I mean, that's why you want to own something like this. So if you'd like to have it, it's for one day only. We took the price from $179.95 to $99.95. That's a huge savings. It is the lowest price that we've ever offered. We can guarantee delivery by Christmas. Who on your Christmas list would love it? And if you're starting in a new eating program January 1, Marion has always been very honest about her struggles with your weight, right?
I have to be. I do it right in front of you.
Well, exactly. Well, me too. I'm right there with you. You said this is the best way to incorporate fiber, and it's been a game changer.
Because the fiber keeps me full. I've never been the girl that can eat the teeny little salad and say that I'm full. I think I eat Greg under the table way more often than I want to admit. But you know, when I eat at home, I do better. When I eat the things that I don't typically like, I despise broccoli. And so when I can hide it in something like the soup that tastes good, or certainly in my morning smoothie, because I promise you, you don't taste it. When you have stronger tasting fruits like that, that masks the taste. And then I'm happy to sip it through a straw. But you put it on my plate, I won't eat it. So I want to show you right now how you use that friction to turn the contents of this into a beautiful soup. This is gonna be broccoli cheddar. I'll stir it here, and then we're gonna move it to the back so we can keep going without the noise from it. But it liquefies so quickly, and then takes the cheese, starts incorporating it. We use some bread to thicken it, and then I'll hand this off to Greg and put this in the back so that it can continue. It's gonna take about 4 minutes for this half batch to be a piping hot soup.
So if you're wondering how this blender compares to some of the big names that are out there, we're gonna do a little comparison to show you. I would put this against those $300 to $400 blenders any day. Let me give you some of the specs just so that you know. You're looking at over 1,050 watts of power. It has carbon steel blending blades, metal on metal gears on this one. This is just, I wanna just give you, hold on a sec, comes with 18 recipes, and it also comes along with the tamper stick that you've been showing us.
Yes.
So you've got everything that you need, but you've got a comparison of one of the more expensive ones.
The one that we adore in the restaurants.